Good morning. I would like to share with you what I've been working with in a class at Mays Lake Peabody Estate. I guess, you just kind of stumble upon something, and it was this book, A Year in Practice, and just the size and the feel of the cover drew me to her book. And as I read through here, I was just like, wow, this is inspiring me to make different things. And it's her words. And so I asked her if I could use her book as an inspiration for a class. And of course, she said yes, and everyone buys their own book. And from that, we work in a small watercolor journal because the watercolor paper works really well for the different art projects we can do. And so I created my own. The first thing that we did is we explored what winter looks like if you're in an area with a nice white blanket that lays over. And in the distance, we see trees and different things like that. So we explored working with India ink and some water, and how we could create some of these little small images of the trees and the snow that's around there. So I shared that with them, and we explored. Here I'm just taking some notes, having some fun of some different things that as I'm reading, and then just writing it down. So you kind of do a little bit of art journaling, note taking. And then we worked on some haikus, The Darkest Days, Flickers Light, Candles Bring Hope, Fire Warms Our Soul. So that was a little haiku that I made. So we were making a couple of those. And then with those haikus, we made weathergrams so that we put those outside now on the barren trees. And we watch them just kind of weather with the snow, with the rain, or whatever happens to them. A couple of mine are tearing, but that's okay. It's just something that you make and you practice kind of letting go. So this is a photograph of where mine, I have white ones, and then I have made out of the craft paper that's there. And then here's some more haikus. Here's another one of those India inks, kind of, a snow scene that's there. Just keeping it very simple, very light, and exploring what happens when the water and the ink mix together. Then we worked on our inner landscape she talked about. And so I came up with this idea of using the watercolors in more of relatable colors next to each other. It kind of looks like fall, but yet, taking a little bit more water to it, washing them down. So we used watercolors, and then we did some embellishments on the surface of those. And what that means, looking outside, seeing our outside, and then how we feel on the inside. It inspired me to write my own poem. And then she talks about being still, and she talks about meditating and not having to be on the go and doing all the time, which is very hard for me to do. So that was a practice that I put. I'm a rest in motion kind of gal, which I am. We practiced some different kind of body scans, different ways to move, meditation. One of the goals I had was just to sit in the afternoon and have a cup of tea and not do anything. That was difficult. We moved into doing some working with some acrylics, and she had a poem in there about a whale. So then I came up with this idea of using just a couple of colors, working with the contrasts and that. Again, talking about our dreams. What are our dreams? This is a time where we can just kind of reflect on some of those. So I have a few dreams. I would like to go away for a week, in a cabin close to a lake. Eat natural foods, take good care of myself, just go with the flow in life, be creative. And so I just kind of did a little thing about that. She also had back there when we were doing the whales, she had another poem about the desert bear. And so I shot a video, of this, and that's on YouTube. And then she talks about also, wintertime too is a place to come home, go into the cave, go into yourself, take that time and focus on some things, instead of having to be all busy all the time. So this idea of these little bitty tiny homes, I'm a person that loves the home, and it's small, it's tedious, so we can make it with different papers and copy it, but we sat and we focused on those. And it was fun. I left a couple empty pages here. I've got a photograph of my little homes that I want to put in there. Playing again with the leftover papers that I made when I was doing the whales. And I played along with it a little bit more. And then our project here is back to that inner landscape, who we are, some of our words and why we pick these words and who we are. So I just have exploring the inner landscape, finding clarity within. And I asked everybody to make 4 of those. So I'm just keeping mine in my book. I have 2 here. The spirit, I had one of the words is spiritual. And then here it was out of an art dictionary and terminology, and it said spectrum, special light, the spirit and bringing that in, and reflection of light, the shadowing. I like to do that. And then grows wild. No matter what age we are, I personally feel that we continue to keep on growing. So now in this page right here, I put preparing for the next season, which would be spring. And I do plan to stay in my little journal here. I may have to make another one for it if I run low. This is just winter, and that was quite a bit that was done. But I do have the next session that will start, and that will be spring, and that starts in March. So make sure you check out Mays Lake Peabody Estate. That's with the DuPage Forest Preserve, and it's a 7-week class, and it starts on Monday. So if you're interested, jump on in, and we'll prepare for spring.